where I'm going to be, for those of y'all that are joining right now, so I'm going to kind of give everybody like a bit of a heads up as to the discussion and everything. And if you can, while we're doing this, if you can send in your request to join the live on Instagram. And your makeup, by the way.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. So y'all already know what it is. I have a really dope guest tonight. I say that a lot. I need to make it more original with each person that comes on. But tonight we have Portia who's coming on. She actually not only what I love about her story is that not only did she do the boot camp to be able to break into tech, but also she has her like work history background is something that's really cool, really niche, really dope industry and dope field. But it's a field that doesn't get the level of respect that most of us would assume that it would. And so because of that, she stepped back, made the decision. Of course, she's going to tell her story 1,000 times better than I could, but she made the decision to transition into the tech industry. Now she's in the tech industry and she's going to be on here sharing her story, answering questions, all that good stuff. So right now we are streaming on not both, we're streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram. We are going to focus predominantly, we're going to prioritize the questions from the YouTube community. But of course, whenever we don't see questions from the YouTube community, we will look at the questions from the Instagram's community and the LinkedIn community as well. So let me go ahead and bring her on right now. It's always interesting to me when other people request to join. It's like, why are you requesting to join? Yeah, somebody said first time you've used LinkedIn Live. Oh, that's super cool. That's super cool. All right, y'all. So my guest is joining right now. So right before we kind of jump into everything, I forgot to actually go over a bit of the house rules. So first and foremost, please be respectful to my guest. Please be respectful to myself, and please be respectful to one another in the comments as well. Y'all know it's all love, it's all peace over here. At the end of the day, we're just here giving free information, free advice, gems, all that good stuff to help people, those that are interested in getting into the tech industry, kind of help those people be able to break into the industry. And so a couple things really quickly about me and my bad, Portia. I literally brought you on here, and usually I would kind of wait after this, but either way, we rocking.
Yeah.
And we attempting to multitask on different platforms. Yeah, y'all give it up for her. Doesn't her makeup and hair look nice?
Oh, thank you.
Some love in the comments and stuff. But yeah, so for those that do not know me, for those that recently followed me, or those that are from Portia's community and peoples, my name is Cyrus. I'm someone who broke into the tech industry. At this point, is about a year and a half ago. I broke into the tech industry. I went from Lyft driving to making $90,000 in the tech industry, and then within 7 months, I job hopped to another company that put me at $157,000. And then a couple months after that, I job hopped to another company that put me at closer to a $250,000. And aside from that, I have a podcast and a platform where I give free game, gyms, tools, all that good stuff to help people break into the tech industry, discounts from different boot camps, like the boot camp that Portia did. And of course, those that do the boot camp, or if you're like a tech influencer like myself, the boot camps do offer you a referral. So that way, one, you can help your friends, your family, your community get discounts into that same boot camp. And also those who do the referral get a kickback, like myself and anyone else that does the boot camps. So going to be interviewing Portia, allowing her to really just tell her story. I don't even like saying interview, but just really allow her to tell her story. And we're going to be addressing questions that people have, whether you have questions directed for her, for myself, or both of us. And so her more recently breaking into the industry, she'll be able to touch on maybe some of the more recent or intimate experiences that some of you might be going through that are either trying to get into the tech industry or you're considering stepping out to get into the tech industry. So all that being said, womp, 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 womp. Portia, thank you for being patient. And thank you also for coming on.
Of course.
So we can actually just really start from the beginning. So I already addressed with everybody that you're a news reporter, you were a news reporter, but you're transitioned from that into the tech industry. So first, can you just tell people a little bit about your background, who you are, and even like you being a news reporter, like what was that like?
Yeah, so I went to college and I graduated with my bachelor's in broadcast journalism. I was definitely somebody who didn't really know what they wanted to do, after college, just as a career. And I probably changed my major about 5 different times. So I ended up on broadcast journalism just because I didn't want to be in college for forever. And I ended up falling in love with it. I'd say that I was really passionate with it, and I was in the industry for about 4 years. And but I wasn't making any money. You know what I'm saying? When you first start out, you're getting paid like less than teachers, but it's something that nobody really talks about because you're on TV. So I think people just assume that, you ball it, you got it like
Yeah.
that, or whatever the case was. But I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I've been following you for, years. I feel like I've kind of like watched your glow up or whatever the case is. And so once you started talking about tech and everything, I was like, okay, I know news reporting isn't something I want to do anymore, but I was like, but what next? And
Yeah.
then so I saw you post and I was like, okay, I think this would be a great next step for me to try to break into. It's a lucrative career, and I wanted to make some money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I want to go to where the money resides. It is interesting because, like you said, most people would think that, yeah, if you're on TV, they you're making money because you're on TV. It's like that's almost like a unspoken assumption that people make that even are pursuing a career where they're going to be on TV. And actually, interestingly enough, I actually saw this young woman. So I live out in Miami now, and one of my friends, he does like street interviews where he interviews different
Mhm.
people and interviews their careers. And I recently featured on his platform, but I saw an interview where he was interviewing a young woman who's an actress, and she's been on like multiple movies and TV shows. Like one of the movies she was in, like she listed up multiple that we all know, but one of them is like Candyman. She was, oh yeah, I was just recently in Candyman. And she was one of the
Mhm.
girls, like you see her in the movie when you watch the movie. And when he asked her, like, oh, about how much do you make? And she was like, well, it fluctuates. He was like, well, how much did you make last year? And it was like that was the same year, like she got her Candyman check, and she said she made about $30,000 that year. And it's like, what? Like you're on multiple movies, multiple TV shows, and so it's just like this thing where it's very clear that yeah, most of the people where we assume that like okay, because you're in this very dope role or dope career, oh, you must be popping financially, but
Yeah.
you shared, it's like unfortunately that's not always the case.
Mm-mm. No, not at all. I mean, along with the not so desirable paycheck, you have to move. It's a career where if you want to continue to move up, you have to move probably about every 2 3 years. And as somebody who really loves their family, I wanted to be close to my family. I knew I couldn't stay in that industry because I wanted to not only move closer back to home, but also be making a decent living as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I didn't realize until now that I guess you had seen me for a while before I ended up getting in tech. And so it's always dope to me whenever it's someone that like, okay, like been familiar already. And because I'm always curious, like, okay, well, and y'all, whenever I'm having these conversations, they're always organic. I don't ask a lot of questions before I ask someone to join me for a live because I love the conversation to be real and for them to be just authentic and for nothing to really be staged. It's like, so I'm not gonna lie. One of the things I'm always curious about is like, what was your thought process when you saw me talking about the tech stuff? And I heard the first part where you mentioned you were like, "Yo, I'm trying to make more money. I need to go ahead and make that transition." Like what was it like you wrestling with the decision, or you even thinking, okay, is this actually possible? Like, hey, I'm a young Black woman, is this industry for me? Like, were those thoughts, or were you more so the type where you're like, you weren't really thinking about that stuff, you just like, oh, I know about the tech industry, it's money in the industry, I'm gonna go ahead and pursue.
No, I didn't really know that much about it. It was a new world for me. It was definitely a lot of turmoil because with that transition, I had to move back home to my hometown. There was a lot of different things at play when I was doing the boot camp. I was in the midst of moving, still working, and I just had all of these things going on. So it was definitely a crazy time for me. And I was like, but I don't have a plan B. So like this need to work. I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
my all into it until I break in. Because
Yeah.
I believed in it. I saw your post and I was like, man, I know I could do this. This is something that I could do. But it was definitely after a lot of prayer for
Yeah.
sure.
That's dope. That's so. All right. So you sign up to do the boot camp. Why did you choose? Because you chose course careers and you chose their tech sales program. Why did you choose course careers? Like, why did you choose course careers and why did you choose like tech sales?
So I chose course careers because I felt like it was the most affordable option for me as somebody who really was counting my coins. Um, I needed to do something that wasn't going to cost so much. So I made an investment. I had my parents' support on it, so that was definitely a huge thing. And also, I saw that it was like self-paced. So when you're working full time, you don't have a bunch of time to dedicate to something like a boot camp. So I saw that it was self paced. I could do it, when I got off work. I could do it on the weekends, even knock out some stuff in the morning or whatever the case is. So I think it was just convenient and the affordability of it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I get the question a lot, and I saw the question over here from the YouTube chat. I get this question all the time. And also, let me say this really quickly, y'all. A lot of the questions that y'all are asking, most of the questions I have answered in my FAQs. So make sure that you have your questions ready because once we're done talking to Portia, or at least once she's done kind of telling her story, we're gonna get to answering the questions from the YouTube and LinkedIn chat. And but some of the questions, if there's a question that I already have answered in the FAQs, then I'm just going to direct you to check out my FAQs because again, that's all just free information that's there. But the question that I saw recently, we hopped on and was someone asking me why did I choose the sales engineering course from Careerist? Why didn't I go course careers or or what would I do? Like if I could go back, would I change anything? So if I could go back, I would change nothing. As you can imagine, like I'm very like satisfied. I feel overly blessed. Like I feel blessed beyond like what I deserve. And so I wouldn't change anything. But if I went back in time and I didn't know how everything would turn out, and I knew about careers and course careers at the time, because of the price, I would have gone with course careers. Because again, I was a Lyft driver. I wasn't making a bunch of money at the time. So I would have gone with course careers if I didn't know what I know now. But knowing what I know now, if I went back in time, I wouldn't change anything. I would still have gone with careers. So yeah, so just want to answer that really quickly. Now, Portia, so you signed up for the boot camp, and when did you sign up for the boot camp?
So I believe I started like April of last year.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a lot further back than I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it
April
it
last-
definitely took me a while
Okay.
to actually, break in, and I had pauses in between, life was happening and all of those things. So yeah, it took me a while.
So were the pauses you taking pauses? Because I know that the course is self-paced. How long did it take you to finish the course?
So the course only took me about 2 or 3 months to finish. I believe I started in April and I wrapped up in July of last year.
Okay, cool. See, I know most people always ask me how long does a course take, and I usually say that self-paced, of course, but I always say like usually it takes most people anywhere between 3 weeks and 3 months. Just really depends.
Yeah,
I know some people that finished it in 1 week, and it's like that was all they were doing day and night was that course. And but I
that's
know
crazy.
I know some people where it took them 6 months. They were just really just chilling while barely kind of moving the needle. So it took
Mhm.
you. So you did it in what was that almost 3 months, right?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 months.
Okay, 2 to 3 months. And so you finished it in July. So you finished in July, and I know you mentioned that you took some pauses and breaks. We'll get back to that in a second. But when did you get your offer letter from the company that you work at?
So I got that like early February
Okay, cool. So
of this year.
yeah, so July to February. Okay, cool. So I think you July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Okay, cool. Yeah, you are the second the second longest person that I've seen that I can think of off the top of my head. And that's not saying anything bad for you, because there are some people that where they did the boot camp 7, 8, 9 months ago, and they still might not have a job, and of course that's not like saying anything about the boot camp, but many times it's like it's so many different variables that comes into play that we already know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna kind of blame the boot camp or blame anybody or anything. But anyway, I was kind of making a point where you're at least 7 months. Actually, I interviewed somebody last week, or someone was sharing their story last week, and it took him. He did a different boot camp, and it took him 9 months, but he got the best offer I actually ever seen. Actually, it was a really incredible offer. So I love this. I actually prefer hearing stories like yours, because too often I think people hear stories like mine, or they hear a story like there have been some people that got jobs through doing course careers before they even finished the boot camp. And so
Yeah.
sometimes people see those stories, and I don't cherry pick like people to come on here. I literally am like, oh, you did the boot camp. I ask a couple light questions, and I'm like, cool, come on. So I actually like it when it's stories like yours, because I think that when people ask me how long does it take, and I'm like, well, I know some people they got a job their first month, but then I know other people like Portia where it might have took 7 months, or like the guy that came on last week where it took him 9 months. So it's like the timeline can be broad. It depends on multiple variables, and I think it's really sobering when people hear a story like yours or timeline like yours, because one, it lets them know, okay, cool. So this isn't some like get rich or get in tech quick scheme. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
That depends on the person, but also I believe it also gives hope for the people where they are on month 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they hear your story and they're like, oh, I shouldn't give up because Portia didn't give up, and like look at her. So that's why I have a deeper appreciation for like testimonies and stories like yours, where it's like you still see God blessing, but the blessing doesn't happen exactly when we want it, but it still comes.
Yeah, I mean, I went through all the emotions, discouraged, feeling rejected, because I believe, I applied to like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean when I said that, pauses and stuff. I was like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I was like, I'm going to stay the course, but let me step back a little bit and maybe just not apply as much, because sometimes it can really just it take over,
Yeah.
and it can impact your mental.
Yeah.
So I definitely did that, took some steps back and chilled out, did some other things, did some odd jobs in between, because that's what I'm saying. Like this had to work because I didn't have a job. Some people they come on here and they're like, oh, I was doing such and such. And then once I got the job in tech, I quit my other job.
Yeah.
No, I was already done. I was on a 2-year contract. So once that was up, that was it. And then, I had that major life moment where I had to move back home. It was just a lot riding on this. So I knew I was going to get in, and I was keeping the faith alive or whatever the case is. But it definitely took a toll on my mental in the midst of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely believe that. And so I believe that because I remember cause I applied to over 300 companies before I got like offer letters. And I remember it got to the point to where I would see the email and it would just be the first part of the email where it says, hey, thank you for applying. And then it
Yeah,
would say, unfortunately, or it would say, we decided, or like anything where it's like, okay, all right.
yeah,
It's like I got
mhm,
so quick with just reading the first part, I would skim out. And the reason why is because I was protecting my mental health and my emotions.
mhm,
Yo, I can't continue to read rejections over and over. So I just got to the point where I'm gonna read the first part, and as soon as I see what they're saying, all I'm gonna do is immediately go to my dashboard and mark the company out, and not even think, not give it a second thought. Just treat it like it's just a process. Okay, this is what I'm doing until I get some yeses. And so, which ironically is what sales is. It's like you get a bunch of no's, and then you get
Literally, it's teaching you about what you're about to do. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I get rejected so many times on the daily. It's ridiculous. But I feel like just from that application process, it really just I built tough skin. In the industry I was in with reporting, I had to have tough skin as well. So I think it was just a double whammy. And I was like, you know what? You ain't gonna win. Like,
Yeah.
y'all don't know me.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm happy. I'm happy that, I mean, obviously it worked out for you really well, and that you kind of stuck to it. One of the things, so a kind of quick announcement, everybody. So for those that do not know, we have a team of others and myself are launching Optiply AI, which is it's an AI tool that actually assists you with both your career as well as staffing. So, and the reason why I'm kind of thinking of it right now is because when you mentioned that you applied to about 200 jobs, and you mentioned that like rejection, receiving those rejection emails. So one of the things Octoply, even like the lowest tier of Octoply, applies to a little over 100 companies a month. And so literally in just 2 months, and it does that passively. And so I'm thinking about when you're like, okay, well, in that 7 month time frame, you apply to about 200 give or take companies, and it's like, and I'm just sharing this for those of y'all that, I mean, she's good, but for those of y'all that either one are doing a boot camp, or you're in the interview process, or you're in the applying process, Octoply actually launches this weekend officially. So it's Octoply, OCTAPLY.ai. You can find it on Instagram and also the website for that. But anyway, the real reason I actually brought it up was because one of the things that we're gonna do, and I think you'll probably like want to punch me that this wasn't out sooner. But one of the things, and this is one of the few things that I came up with that I was like, hey, I want Octoply to do, is that since it is applying for people already, it's going to have a dashboard for people, and the dashboard is going to include all of the companies that they're applying for. But one of the updates, this won't release, this won't be available when we first release Octoply this weekend. But one of the updates that we're going to have to it is that the dashboard will actually hide the companies. It'll like blur out the companies that send a rejection or send that rejection email. So that way, whenever people go to their dashboard, they won't see the companies that are rejecting them. So that way they won't have to deal with that emotional feeling. They will only see the companies that they've applied to that either haven't responded yet, or that they've applied to that those companies that they're still in the interview process with yet, something like that. Now, of course, if they want to see the companies that like rejected them, they'll be able to like go and like unclick to unblur all the companies. But that was one of the things I thought about when we were creating it, where I was like, hey, for our next update, I want us to have that, because I want, when people are using Octoply, whenever they're looking at their dashboard, I want to remove as much of that negative feeling or that rejection feeling as possible. To where, yeah, like, okay, I'm getting rejection because I don't have a job yet, or I don't have interviews yet. But it's like you don't have to see them to know that they're there. So that way you don't have to deal with that emotional toll. So that's kind of
That's a game changer.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That was one of the things I was thinking about when you were sharing, or us kind of talking through like the rejection aspect. And so this is actually good. I'm starting to realize like sometimes like having these conversations will even help us think through stuff that we could do to help people in the future. But that's a whole another thing. Anyway, so 7 months. So you finished the boot camp in July, started at your first company in February. Now I know you say you took breaks and things. Of course, you got sidetracked and a bit like daunted. At any point in time, or I would say, how often did you ever question or think like, let's go crazy? How often did you ever think, yo, I think this is cap, or yo, I don't think these companies really want to hire me, or I don't think anyone's hiring at all? Like what were some of the thoughts and doubts and things that swirled through your mind that you had to kind of pray against or fight through?
So I think the first thing is I never really thought it was cap. I really believed that, tech was the way, or whatever the case is. But I was like, I think what I thought was like, maybe it's not the right time. Like maybe something like that. Maybe it's a wrong timing situation, or it was just kind of like, what can I do differently? Because I would go on LinkedIn, I would see other people getting jobs or whatever the case is. And I would be thinking, like, what can I do differently? Because there's so much advice out there. And so, if I like what somebody was saying, I screenshot it and try to implement it on the next interview or whatever the case is. It was just like, I think I was just thinking kind of like, what am I doing wrong, or what can I do right? What can I do better? So I can go ahead and secure the bag.
Yeah. So all right. So were you actually getting interviews, or like what was going on? Were you getting interviews? Were you getting to the final round interviews and being rejected? Like what things, and this I think will be a good opportunity to start like kind of educating people that are here. What did you start making? What are some changes? I'm sure that you weren't just doing the same thing over and over. I'm sure at some point you started making some tweaks and maybe started seeing like success meaning you're getting some more interviews or further rounds in the interviews. And so like what are some adjustments that you would want to point out that you think were really important for you?
Yeah, so I had no problem getting interviews and getting to the last rounds. And I think that was what was so frustrating about it. With tech sales, like you could go through 3 and 4 rounds and, everybody all smiley, oh, we like, we're going to hit you up and everything. And then don't. And so I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know what's worse, like not getting interviews at all or actually getting them every time you apply, get into the last rounds, but then just something like no. But what I did was I really had to do some soul searching or whatever. And through different kind of conversations and networking, I realized that I didn't really know my why. Of like why I felt like I didn't know my why of like why I really wanted to get in this industry or whatever the case was. And then once I kind of started thinking about that, and I was like, well, you know what? My why is my family. You know what I'm saying? My immediate family, the people that really support me, my loved ones, and then also like a future family. You know what I'm saying? Like this would be for them for, the generational wealth that could come from this and everything like that. And once I started really kind of just meditating on my why, things started to change. I started getting callbacks, and offers.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, that's real. I mean, I don't know if you read this book. There's a really popular book, and people in sales typically read it, or companies sometimes like gift it to their employees. It's called Start With Why.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Have you heard of it or read it?
I never heard of that. I never heard of it.
Yeah, the person who so it's like a quick kind of like kind of tip with everyone. So the person who wrote the book, he's a very famous speaker. He's a famous business coach. So he coaches like very successful business owners. He goes around and coaches them. And I forget the company that he's the founder of. He's a founder of some company that we all know about. But anyway, he did a very popular TED Talk. So actually, y'all, if y'all don't want to read the book, you could actually watch the TED Talk for it, because he did a TED Talk, like it's like a 20-30 minute TED Talk, really impactful. It's called Start With Why. And he breaks down how Apple does their marketing, and he breaks down how most people do marketing. So he's saying the way most people market something, they start with what something does. They're like, hey, we do this thing. Well, first they'll start with what something is, and they start with what it does. Then eventually they go to why they do it. It's like, oh, we do this so it can help people, whatever. But he was saying how he in the speech he did on the TED Talk, he talked about how Apple does the reverse. He says Apple starts with the why. They say that we transform lives. And we have this thing, like we transform lives. Oh, yeah, okay. So it goes why, how, and then what. Whereas most people do what, how, and then why. So most people will say, hey, I have the most advanced technological phone in the world. So that's the what. Then they'll say how. Oh, how it's advanced is because we use this unique technology that does X, Y, and Z. Oh, why we do it? We do it because we think it's good if people have something that's better, a better phone, better quality that can help their lives. Versus Apple, they start with the why. And they start with like, we believe people should have the best phone ever. And then they'll go into, so we have this technology that no one else has. And then they'll go and then they'll say, like, oh, and by the way, it's the best phone ever. So it's like they go backwards.
Okay. That's nice.
We
Yeah.
don't use it to talk about marketing, but realistically, it's something that applies to life in general, where it's like we really should think more of the why before we think of the what. So instead of thinking what we want, think of like why we want it. And then we
Yep.
think, okay, how to accomplish that. Then think of, okay, what is that thing that'll get me there to accomplish that and to get me to my why. So anyway, just super like tangent, but it's a really really popular TED talk. I definitely encourage checking it out. It's really really good, really informative. Yeah, thank you. Somebody put in the comments on YouTube by Simon Sinek. Yeah, Optimism. Yeah, by Simon Sinek.
Yeah, no, that's good. I definitely was doing things backwards. I was like, I just know what, you know? And I think once I really dove into my why, it showed in the interviews.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It really did. There was some kind of disconnect that was going on, and that was the missing piece.
That's incredible. I love that so much for you. So we don't have to get into specifics. For those that have seen my lives before, those that haven't, I've interviewed guests that have come on and they've gotten offers, like their first time offer in tech over $150,000, which is very rare. And then some people usually getting something around like 110, 120,000. And then also I brought people on a live where they accepted an offer for like 55,000 or 60,000, which again, for me, the most important thing that I always tell people is just really breaking into the industry and then kind of scaling from there. So that being said, y'all can look and see like various examples of how much people have gotten. So I say that because I've gotten to the point now where I don't really want my guests to like have to open up and say how much they're making at their new company. Because again, it could be, the range could be anywhere. But there is one thing that you told me in the DMs that I did want you to share, where you had mentioned about like how much more you're being paid now versus when you were
Yeah, like there was a moment when I was a news reporter, and it was like my birthday. Like my birthday was about to hit at midnight, and my friend, we are gonna go to this bar, and at the bar, like if it's your birthday, you know, you get a free meal or whatever the case was. And she was like, okay, I got you on the drinks and stuff. And I was like, well, you know, I want to be able to, you know, spend some money and have a good time as well. And I literally checked my bank account right before we left, and it had like overdrafted. And I was like, and that wasn't like the first time. On my birthday, I was like, what a way to start the new year. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and now, you know, my bank account is full. You know, I'm able to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to do extra, hang out with friends, you know, go on trips. I'm about to go to the Bahamas in a little while, in a couple of weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what this tech life has afforded me. And it's like, it's only the beginning. So I know that it's just gonna go up from here.
Yes. Exactly. And y'all put some fire emojis in the chat. That's incredible. I don't care whatever emoji you want to put. It could be a fire emoji. It could be a money emoji. It could be a praise hand emoji. Like whatever it is, that's like fire.
Look, God did.
For real, like big facts. Because that's crazy to be like. It's like your bank account telling you happy birthday.
Yeah,
like happy birthday.
Like you thought you was finna enjoy something. No, you're not. You better get that free meal and go on home.
Man, yo, praise. And your birthday is around New Year's, you said?
No, it's like it's in the spring. It's in March.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like
all
spring
right,
break.
So, I mean, shoot, by next March, you definitely had either been promoted or gotten a significant raise. So that birthday gonna be real nice.
Oh yeah, I'm already trying to plan something. I'm like, y'all get y'all bags ready. We're going out the country.
Exactly. I love that. That's incredible, man. That's fire. So you got on at the company that you're at, and how long between when they sent you the offer letter did you actually start?
Probably about a couple weeks later. So I got it towards maybe like.
What was your reaction like when you saw the offer? Like when they were like, "Yo, we want you to come on." What was that experience like when you saw that
I
email?
mean, I'm a crybaby anyways, so it don't take much. But after just grinding, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
After going from such a big life change, I thought I was gonna do, news reporting for the rest of my life. I really
yeah,
thought that was gonna be my career. So like when I stopped, everybody was like, "Why you were so good? You were so this, you were so that." And it's just like y'all don't know what I'm going through. Y'all don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If you knew, you would not ask me that. You wouldn't
yeah,
ask me that
exactly.
at all. But no, like I started crying. I started thanking the Lord. I was
Yeah,
just so happy that like I was going to, a new phase in my life. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, just kind of like I mentioned earlier, it was kind of that mental warfare that you're going through. Like, can you really do this? Are you actually gonna break in? Yeah, Cyrus did, but that's him, are you actually going to? And so it's just so much that I had to kind of break through to get to that moment. And so when I got that offer letter, I was like, you know what, Lord, you see me, and I'm so sorry that I ever doubted what you have for my life.
yeah, man, that's incredible. Yo, praise God, congratulations. That's fire.
Man, praise, oof, he did it.
That's fire. Yo, I love that so much. I love that so much, man. So, all right, so you've been in the industry, or you're in the industry now. You've been in now since February. What's that? 4 months now.
Yeah, since about the beginning of March. I started like March, first week of March.
Okay, first week of March. All right, so three months, a little over 3 months.
Mhm.
All right, so you've been in a little over 3 months, and we don't have to go super in depth because one, we are short on time, and I do want us to get to at least some of the questions that people have. Um,
Mhm.
so, would love for you to just talk about just your experience, and again, you can kind of do it like on a high level, but just like your experience, like I guess some of the things that came aside from the better pay or the better salary. Like, is it remote or is it hybrid? Are you going to the office? Are there some cool benefits and perks? But also, like, I guess, what is it like culture wise for you being in tech now?
Yeah, so I am fully remote. I love, waking up from my room, then just, going waddling to the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I do, take a shower and all of that good stuff, fix me a breakfast. I usually have a nice little smoothie, something light or something like that in the morning, but nothing beats, working from home. I mean, that's just a blessing in itself, on my breaks. I'm able to walk my dogs, get some sunshine, or whenever, getting rejection after rejection, go out there, feel the sun on my face, come back in, get back to it. You know how you said, that thing about how you had fell asleep, you thought it was gonna be that little nap,
Oh
and then it turned into a sleep. Look, taking a nice little nap. I was like, dang, I got 8 hours of sleep last night, and I'm still taking a whole hour nap. That's wild. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like sometimes after work, even though you're sitting down at a computer all day, you're like, why am I so exhausted? But it's like your brain going, like you happen to
yeah,
be on top of it, you happen to be sharp, be quick with the comebacks or whatever the case is. But I think that's what I really enjoy most, and also the work life balance. With news reporting, I really didn't have much of that. They were able to call me in the middle of the night. I remember getting calls at 2 a.m. to see about something that may be something or may not be something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when you're on call. Mm-hmm. And then
how they got the
also
nerve to do that, but they not paying you what they should have been? Man, come on.
I'm talking about. I just felt like underpaid and overworked is
Yeah,
what I was. I worked so hard, and it was just crazy.
yeah.
So that's what I really enjoy most, the working from home part, and also just being able to enjoy my weekends, have holidays off, whatever the case is. I mean, you can't trade that.
Yeah, no, you really can't. You really. I'm not. I was literally telling a friend the other day. I sometimes forget about traffic because I don't drive during like the morning,
Hmm.
and it's like whenever I go somewhere, it's usually after 7 o'clock anyway. So it's like I've gotten so used to not seeing traffic that whenever I am in traffic, my mind is like, why are all these cars out here? But for me, it's been
Yeah.
like a year and a half now, so it just seems it's like, man, it's just like living in a different world. It's just such.
Honestly, I barely even drive now. If I'm not just like going to the gym or maybe it's some appointments or something, some self care on the weekends, like I don't even drive that much. It's crazy. Sometimes when I get in the car, I'm like, oh yeah, press this to go. It be so like I barely ever drive. Like I love that because I don't really like driving.
Oh no, it's definitely the industry for people that don't care to drive that much. So I say that much. So look, so we started late. That's my fault, and we are short on time. So I would love for us to get to these questions. So what we're gonna do usually, y'all, usually we look at the questions that are on Instagram, but this time we're actually going to pivot and we're gonna show love to the LinkedIn and YouTube community. So we're gonna still let those of y'all that are on Instagram still like tune in while Portia and I answers these questions, but we're gonna be focusing on the YouTube and LinkedIn chat. So that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get to these. So those of y'all that are on LinkedIn, YouTube, make sure that y'all are dropping y'all questions so that way we can see them. We're gonna try to get to as many as we can, but we're going to jump off probably a couple minutes before 8:30 just to give y'all a heads up. So. It's a lot of questions in here, but we're gonna just try to go. I'm just gonna try to go and look at the ones that I see in chat. So one that I see, someone says, "Can you transition from tech sales to sales engineer?" I'm not gonna go in depth on this because I answer this in my FAQs. I'll say in short, it's highly unlikely to just try to apply for a sales engineering job, even though you've only done tech sales. When I say highly unlikely, I've only ever seen 2 people ever do it. And I know hundreds of people that have tried. But I answer in my FAQs, I break down I break down 3 different ways that you can transition from either tech sales to sales engineering or just another role in tech to sales engineering. I break that down in my FAQs. Link in my bio. Again, all free information, free game. All right, so someone's asking. So this is a good question for you. Someone asked. Leah Simpson says, Portia, what are some of the difficulties you have experienced while being in tech sales?
I really just think like we have this thing that we say PMA, positive mental attitude. After hearing rejection after rejection, it can wear on you a little bit. And so I think it's just important to, do those things that make you feel good. Like when I hear rejection after rejection, sometimes I just need to go and feel the sun on my face, or, sometimes I just have music playing in the background to keep me upbeat. Cause I mean, in tech sales, you got to think about it. You're sitting at the computer all day making calls. Like even today, I made upwards of 200 calls. You know what I'm saying? And also just reminding yourself that it just takes, that one yes to turn around your whole day.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's one thing I did skip over. I forgot to mention. So you're an SDR, correct? Sales development
Yeah.
representative. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Hey y'all, so yeah, depending on the company that you're at, it can vary whether it's you're doing calls or you're doing LinkedIn messages or you're doing emails, or some companies it's a variety of all of those. Some companies you only need to reach out to 50 people a day. Some it could be 500 a day. It just really all depends and varies. So good question though. So next question, Jalen asks, what are the cons to the Course Careers program that you did?
I love how it's self-paced. So if you do have a full-time job or just have, a life outside of that, you can just pick it up whenever you want to. It's affordable.
Oh no,
Um,
they said the cons, like some
oh,
things.
oh,
Yeah,
my bad. I mean, just kind of like what I said. You're sitting down all day. You're making so many calls. Sometimes people are rude.
is that for course?
They can get
Is
they can
that for
get rude.
is
Huh?
that for course quiz? I'm sorry. Let me be. I'm going to be better at asking the questions. So the person's asking, what are the cons to the Course Careers boot camp that you did?
Okay, Course Careers Bootcamp. Um, the cons. What? So what didn't I like about it?
Yeah,
I mean, there wasn't really too much. It's just kind of like school, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't really like studying, I mean, things like that, you have to retain knowledge, you have tests throughout. There's a project that you have to do, a project where you have to reach out to other companies. So that may be something that you may not want to do, but I mean, that's what you're going to be doing while you're working. So might as well do it now. And there is reading involved. You have to read like 3 or 4 books. So if you don't like reading, I mean, it felt like some of them books is thick. So I will say that. Maybe probably all the reading that I had to do, but even that wasn't that bad.
I heard the books. So again, I didn't do course careers. I heard that the books are pretty insightful. Like I heard that some of them are pretty.
Yeah, like it's not bad at all. There wasn't really too much that I didn't like. It was just like school. So if you're not really a school kind of person, you don't really want to study or read stuff, then you might not like that.
Yeah. All right. So next question: does your job require you to be on Zoom all day?
No, not all day. Just in the morning when we first log on, and also in the afternoon. So right after lunch. So only 2 times out the day for about 10 or 15 minutes before we hit the phones again.
So one thing I'm gonna do a better job of, y'all. Some of the questions are her answers are specific to like her company and her job, and it doesn't. Some of the questions it's very hard to answer for every single sales development representative role at every single company. Uh, so be mindful of that. Mm-mm. All right, so someone on here. All right, I see a Mister. I cannot pronounce your last name. I don't want to disrespect you by butchering it. I see that you're asking about her day to day. So for the sake of time, we're not going to have her address that one because that's something that kind of like will go into a few different pieces. That is something that's answered in my FAQs, and I have a bunch of other interviews with other people that are in tech sales that answered like their day to day. All right, so for both of us, someone said this question is for both of you. Did you feel any imposter syndrome when you got your first role?
I mean, yeah, certainly. There was already that sense of, can I even do this, before I even really got started. So when I did, I was like, ooh, this is a lot. Can I really do this? You know what I'm saying? There was always that kind of thought. But luckily for me, I have a great supportive team at work, and we hype each other up. And we harp on the good things that we're doing, as well as the constructive criticism as well. But I think it's just that support that I feel from my colleagues and my loved ones that keep me pushing forward.
I agree. I think I've never not felt imposter syndrome working in tech. Believe it or not, even to this day, I still feel a heavy sense of imposter syndrome. I've come to accept it. Like I actually don't even try to not feel it anymore. I've just come to accept that this is a feeling that happens. There's a quote. There's a quote by a business mogul, young business mogul named Alex Hermosi, and he says that the way that you deal with imposter syndrome and self-doubt isn't by yelling affirmations in the mirror. He said it's by building up a stack of undeniable evidence that you are who you say you are. And so that's why I don't give into my imposter syndrome, because whether we're talking being a sales engineer, or we're talking, I mean, shoot, even me helping people get in tech, or we're talking like this new venture with Octoply AI, it's like there's that constant feeling where it's like, yo, do I really know what I'm doing, or do I just seem like I know what I'm doing? I'm at the point now where I'm like, yo, like man, God's been good. I've been killing it. Even my first time being a sales engineer, I outperformed all the sales engineers at my company. Now, not in terms of me knowing more, not in terms of me demoing better, but in terms of like more deals closing through me like that I was a part of than other sales engineers. Even though I did all of that where I felt like I was kind of like fumbling my way through, and I still did it. So yeah, just come to embrace imposter syndrome, and don't think it's something that you'll ever fully get over. It's always going to rear its head.
And also, like, numbers don't lie, like the data. Like everything that you do, every sale that you get, or whatever the case is tracked. So whenever you feel that type of way, you can always just go to your numbers and be like, you know what, I'm doing great actually.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, cool. Someone says there's a 40% sale with careerists right now for sales engineering. I'm considering that. Yeah, I definitely think you should go that route. If you're interested in sales engineering, definitely go that route. If you want an additional $300 off, you can use my discount link on top of that 40% sale. So yeah, and that's for everybody here. Those of y'all that are interested in careerists, whether it's sales engineering or not, they do have a huge sale going on right now. You can use the link in my bio. It's automatically a discounted link. It has $300 discount attached to it. And you can take advantage of the 40% sale, both of those together. So it's kind of something to throw out there for y'all. All right. Someone says, can I do the IT course one and get a good job after the boot camp? And does the discount also apply? Yes. Yeah. Yes, in short. All right. Does the company give you a computer or cell phone for work?
Yeah, they gave me a laptop. No cell phone though. But yeah, a laptop and mouse and the whole setup. So
Do you use your personal phone for work?
no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
I created like a little Google Voice if I want to send like a text or something like that, and that's just on the computer.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Because the only reason I asked that is because when you were saying that they don't give you a phone, and this is just for everybody that's here. Most tech companies, if you have to use your phone for work, they will either cover your phone bill. Like my tech company has, like all the companies I've worked at in tech, they've covered my phone bill. So they either cover your phone bill or they'll give you like a secondary phone, or they'll give you an option if you're using your phone a lot for work. All right. So how was the transition going from being a news reporter into tech? Did you feel well prepared? So I guess what you learned in course careers, was it like good in terms of preparing you for the role?
Yeah, for sure. I think, they harp a lot on just kind of like that effective communication, whether that's, an email or a phone call, or what have you, or reach out on LinkedIn. I feel like they definitely prepared me for my job. I don't think you can be prepared for like the high volume calls that you do if you're with a company who is mostly phone based, dial wise. That was a shocker. Just calling so many people a day. But other than that, I felt like it was a pretty smooth transition from a news reporter to tech sales, because also with being a news reporter, you had to reach out to people via email and phone call as well. So I was kind of used to that aspect, really just having effective communication in that way.
Yeah, that's good. So look, y'all, my apologies. I do have to go. There's a lot of other questions that are here in the chat. Like, I would say, one, feel free to DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn asking your questions, but anything specific that you have for Portia, like y'all tap in with her. Of course, also be mindful that she's working. I'm working as well, but I have the privilege of, I have like a few virtual assistants, and they have the FAQs of all of the answers to the questions. And they message me all day throughout the day whenever there's a unique question that someone asks. So either way, it'll either be me answering your question or it'll be one of my virtual assistants. So give Portia grace if y'all reach out to her and ask her something if she can't respond right away. Yeah, because she's still getting them heels dug in deep at the company and all of that. So look, other than that, y'all, love y'all. For those that are interested in whether it's the boot camp Portia did or any of the other boot camps that I recommend, and if you want a discount, I do have discount links in my bio. Or if there's another boot camp that you have any questions about that isn't one that I typically recommend, message me about it and I'll give you my 2 cents, because there's other good boot camps out there too. So thank you so much, Portia, for coming on here and sharing your story. Really, really dope story. Amazing testimony. Congratulations again. Like, it's dope.
Man, thank you. No, this was fun. I don't know why I was feeling a little anxious about it, but this was so much fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Definitely. Now, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right, peace. All right, y'all. Love y'all. I'm going to let y'all go. let y'all get back to y'all's lives, and I'm gonna do the same. And back out here in Miami, got to see what Miami talking about. Enjoy myself since I'm back home. All right, love y'all. Blessings.